Good morning, everyone. It's Brendan and Mark here at Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, say what?
Boom. How's everybody doing this morning? Happy post-Mother's Day. Brenda, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great, sir.
Sir, what am I here talking? Oh, look at this. Look at this face on the dollar bill. Wouldn't you rather have that? Huh? Nice.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Chair Gensler from the SEC chair, what he's saying about Bitcoin, all great news. And Mark is going to lead us off with an article on Bitcoin. And while he does that and gets that on his screen, we're going to talk about our background. I always choose city in United States, and that is Atlanta, Georgia. It's beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. And Mark is, the dollar bill behind him is starting to burn away with a Bitcoin behind it. So hit it, Mark.
All right, here we go. Hey, if you don't buy Bitcoin, you can't be rich.
I like that article.
Yeah, who doesn't? Okay, so rich is a subjective term, yet it is apparent that those with no Bitcoin unknowingly lack the freedom unnecessary for true wealth. I'm just going to read a little bit into this article here.
Away.
Bitcoin Magazine. Undoubtedly, fiat millionaires will read the title of this article and laugh. Languishing in mansions with foundations of debt, materialism, and the physical world of fiat rich people is deceptively luxurious. Assuredly, the great empires of Rome, Venice, and Constantinople also had many rich people enjoying various splendors of wealth. Indeed, turkeys live happy lives until Thanksgiving. I'm going to read a little bit more and then I'll kind of comment on the article here. If we could,
that was a weird analogy.
Well, okay.
Go ahead. We don't have to analyze it. I'm just saying that was a.
I'm not going to get too.
Obviously, an opinion piece.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When you get into Bitcoin, you start off, you're like, okay, it's an investment. And then you really start to understand, you read the white paper and you start understanding there's a very philosophical approach to Bitcoin. It's not just about wealth accumulation. It's about freedom, sovereignty, getting away from materialism. It's really kind of a different way of life. I'm not saying you can't go out and buy yourself a big house if you do well. I don't think that's what the article really talks about. I think what the article is going to say, and I'm not going to delve down deep into it here because it is a pretty long article, but a very good, and it is really kind of an opinion piece and kind of talks about what people that are true kind of understanding, Bitcoiners, what their feeling is Bitcoin is going to do if you understand the philosophical aspect of it. So I think it really gets back to having a different view of the world where it's not as materialistic, going back to having quality time, quality relationships, quality food, where it's just a matter of your approach to it, having freedom, not having everybody know how much Bitcoin you have and where it's at. It's a very sovereignty driven type philosophy. So I think what it says is it kind of pokes the existing fiat millionaires, because at some point in time when you keep printing and printing and printing, that fiat, it kind of explodes onto itself. And
to interject, our channel is about helping the average person realize that they can acquire Bitcoin. And and so Mark just said, this pokes fun at the fiat millionaires. You don't have to be a millionaire, like Mark is saying. I don't think you meant it that way. Just to clarify that you can have Bitcoin and do quite well, not financial advice, but do quite well in the coming 10 years or so. So this is about, dollar cost averaging in and taking advantage of the current really low prices, that's out there. So, all right. You want me to share an article now?
Yeah, go right ahead. Let me pull this off the screen here. Hold on. You've got something up in my way. Let's see. I'm going to make sure. Hold on here. There we go.
All right. Awesome. All right. I'm not going to read these for too long, but this is news this morning. Citi plans to launch crypto trading services after a boom in client interest in digital currencies. Yet again, this is in Business Insider. I'll put this in the show notes. Go read this. Citi is looking to offer crypto trading services, according to Financial Times. The bank's global head of foreign exchange said a range of clients have shown interest in Bitcoin. Citi will build something when it can be supported by regulators and clients. I mean, it's obvious what's happening. We talked about it last week. I'm going to do another article here from Goldman Sachs, and then we can kind of talk about that as this goes.
Okay.
All right, Goldman Sachs internal memo unveils new crypto trading team. The bank informed its markets personnel that a newly created cryptocurrency desk had successfully traded two kinds of Bitcoin-linked derivatives, according to internal memo obtained exclusively by CNBC. All right, I will, did that show up on the screen?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, that was weird. It looked weird.
No, it was on. You popped it on. And
what we talked about last week about in June, they said hundreds of banks in the U.S. were going to be offering Bitcoin for the average person to come in and buy, purchase, and the banks, I believe, will hold. And they're doing it through, I think, a national charter trust And so here we go. These other banks are coming out, and they're probably like, holy cow, this is coming. And so this is a slow leak. Bitcoin, we believe, Mark and I do, not financial advice, that Bitcoin's price is being hampered down. I listened to someone last night on Twitter who's looking at the trading charts, and he's saying that Bitcoin is an upward, like it's kind of going into, it's going into this, like there we go, a triangle, and it's going to be pinched here. Maybe around the 11th through the 15th of May, if things continue the way that they do. And then he believes it's going to take off. Who knows? But the banks are starting to acquire this. And they're doing this because they know what's coming in June with the charter banks, the hundreds of banks. And so I wanted to show you just Citigroup and Goldman Sachs. And I want to kind of, if you don't mind, I want to share.
No, but keep going. Yeah.
It's all kind of in the same vein. And so I want to show this other one. This is kind of a big deal. CFO of world's largest hedge fund joins NYDIG to focus on Bitcoin. Earlier today, NYDIG announced that John Dalby, CEO of Bridgewater Associates, the world's largest hedge fund, is joining its team and bringing more than 2 decades of experience in capital markets. I mean, that's a big deal because this gentleman is so well known for his intellect level of finance that he is going into crypto and Bitcoin, NYDIG. I mean,
yeah.
Someone at this caliber, you just don't make that switch because you think it's a Ponzi scheme.
I think he's the executive manager of that fund, who's overseen by Ray Dalio, Ray Dalio is the guy he's the guy that's kind of thrown Bitcoin under the bus, and he's kind of warming up to it finally.
He's actually, we got quite a few videos I've seen of him speaking pretty highly of it.
Yeah, well, he was, you go back a year or so, and he was kind of throwing it under the bus.
Yeah, but a lot of people a year ago said FUD about it, and now they're coming around. So
isn't it funny? It's just like, boy.
I think, Mark, you're going to get me a Christmas ornament that says FUD on it, because I say that almost every stream. But, yeah.
Well, you know what? And here's the thing. These guys are smart guys.
Yeah.
They see it. They see, you know what they're seeing? They're seeing the constant printing going on. They see the inflation. They see something is amiss. I mean, it doesn't. If you take the average guy out on the street, I mean, I've talked to other contractors when I'm out there. They all say the same thing. Yeah. Something is amiss.
You don't have to be wealthy to understand what's going on in the financial market.
No, I think honestly, you may not be able to describe it if you're the average Joe or Jane out there. You may not, know what it is, you know what it feels like to you financially, but you just can't maybe describe it.
You know what I think it is? Honestly, the average guy, the blue collar guy, is feeling the pinch. And so I think maybe we're seeing it a little bit more easily, or accepting the concept, or open-minded to this concept. Because we're seeing the pinch more than the wealthier, because they've got a big bigger cushion of room, and so they're not quite as pinched, where the average guy is, hobbling it along every year. So let me finish this part here about NYDIG. Working on Bitcoin is increasingly what many of the best and brightest employees seek, including industrial leaders like John. And NYDIG is uniquely positioned to offer them the platform, resources, and culture to shine in pursuit of the collective mission to bring Bitcoin safely to everyone. The announcement emphasized a growing interest that institutional leaders have in working on Bitcoin throughout. The news comes just 2 days after NYDIG announced that it was partnering with FIS to enable, now this is what I was talking about a bit ago, hundreds of banks to offer their customers the ability to buy, sell, and hold Bitcoin via their accounts in the coming months. I honestly believe, not financial advice, Bitcoin is going to smash up the summer and fall. It seems that with every coming day, another major development is announced out of Wall Street, and more big players from the legacy system come to understand the immense opportunity presenting itself with the asset of Bitcoin network. NYDIG continues to lead by example in the sense, and it will be exciting to see what moves it makes next. And so I'm going to try to follow that and see what they do and what they're starting to put in place, because I would guess when that gentleman was at Dalby comes on board, I guess. No, the gentleman that they just brought in, I think Dalby.
Yeah,
I think once, if that happens this week or whenever it is, I think they're going to make some huge changes. He's just not going to sit around. So,
yeah, and the reality of it is, it's kind of an old system, new system thing.
Yeah,
I mean, realistically, and to recognize that, I don't think it takes a genius. I think you just have to start reading that the writing out is on the wall. It's just one of those things that you just kind of like, okay, I think things are not going the way they are. This is a new system. It's going to require some change, a little bit of pain, but once you pop out on the other side,
I think the summer and fall is going to be exciting. So, you want to share another one of your articles, dude?
Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna say, it's like holding a spring on you, like when you have a little spring in your hand and you let go and it just goes, psh, that's what's going to happen.
Oh, I thought you meant about the article you're bringing up.
No.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
No, I honestly think.
Just share the article and then we'll talk as you do it. Mark is one of those. I love him. He's my husband.
I'm doing the best I can here.
He's my husband, but he can't do two things at one time. You know how some people.
No, and I'm just trying to get my article here. All right, here we go. A Canadian Bitcoin ETF has attracted $823 million in just 3 weeks since launching, as crypto demand remains strong. Okay, so you think, $823 million isn't that much. Well, as a Canadian Bitcoin, I think they have 3 of them up there, if I'm not mistaken. That's quite a bit of dough, because Canada's not as, there's a lot of land space, but it's not as populous of an area as you think it is. Maybe I'll have to check that up. All right, okay. Canadian Bitcoin Exchange Traded Fund has only been trading publicly for 3 weeks. This just opened. $832 million, 1 billion Canadian dollars. I didn't know there was an exchange. There was a big difference there in exchange rate. So, in assets under management, the 3IQ CoinShares Bitcoin, holy cow, say that 10 times, ETF launched on April 19th and is the fastest Bitcoin ETF in Canada to reach 1 billion Canadian dollars in asset under management, according to press release.
Nice.
Fund trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange under the ticket BTC Q. Okay, that's
awesome.
That's it.
Good Canadian news. All right, you want to share another one?
Yeah, let me dig down here. I gotta figure out how I
gotta end the share and then come back.
I'm getting it. Relax there, Seabiscuit. I'll get there. There we go. Is that better? Okay, now let me get into the next one. My fat fingers don't work as well as your skinny fingers. Okay. All right. Here we go. U.S. Coinbase transparency report shows U.S. leads way in Bitcoin user data monitoring.
I don't like that title. Look at they got the surveillance cameras there.
I'm not a big. Yeah, the less you know, the better off you'll be.
Maybe you won't go on Coinbase. Go ahead. Go ahead.
A report from cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase shows that the U.S. is the most aggressive in seeking information about Bitcoin traders. All right. Major cryptocurrency exchange Coinbase has released its latest transparency report, providing data on customer information requests it received from the government and law enforcement agencies between July 1, 2020 and December 31st, 2020. Among the insights into who requested the user information from Coinbase, it's clear that the U.S. remains the most interested in tracking the activity of Bitcoin traders. While Coinbase facilitates the trading of many cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin makes up more than 12% of its 1 billion of its volume. Okay.
Nice.
All right. So I'm going to read this next paragraph and we'll call it a day there. There were a total of 4,200, we'll just say 4,300 requests in 2020. 54% of those requests made during the time period covered by this report, according to Coinbase blog post sharing the insights. The FBI and HSI comprise the majority of U.S. law enforcement information requests, at 50% or 51% of total requests during this period. So basically, they're looking for illicit drug trade and money laundering and stuff. The beautiful thing about Bitcoin is that it's transparent. You may not know exactly who owns that address, but you know what, it's there, and when it moves, you know when it moves. I mean, it's not real. I mean, this isn't like, this isn't like top level, like, oh, we're that's it. You might be able to see where it's moving, but you don't know who's moving it. So, and you might know it goes to, say, another wallet, but that really doesn't mean much of anything. I mean, am I wrong in that, saying that?
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. So. All right, let's move on. Bitcoin Magazine, my favorite gentleman right now with the SEC Chair, Gary Gensler. I like him a lot. Hopefully he does well for Bitcoin for us. I've listened to his free Bitcoin and blockchain MIT course. Go search it up. It's a free course. It's extensive. It's amazing. And when he was teaching over at MIT, now he's the SEC chairman. So Gensler says Bitcoin is a store of value. That's huge for him to say that. I mean, we know that, but that's amazing that our new SEC chair says that. But it needs greater investor protection. All right, that's cool. SEC Chairman Gensler recently recognized Bitcoin's value, but called for greater investor protection through increased regulation. All right, what does that mean? He's the new head of the SEC and told CNBC that he recognizes Bitcoin's scarce store of value, distinct from other crypto tokens, which are, quote, indeed securities, end quote. That it's interesting. I wonder what that means to him. But he also alluded to a perceived need for additional regulations around its investment and use. It's a digital scarce store of value, but high volatility, Gensler said. And there's investors that want to trade that and trade for its volatility. All right. We just saw over the weekend, gosh, we just talked about this morning, Mark. Do you remember the bank that was shorting it, Dogecoin? Do you remember? There was just an article. I'll try to talk about it, or our listeners who are watching. Dogecoin was just shorted on Saturday, because remember, crypto's open 365, 7 days a week. So when SNL Musk was on, and as his mother was talking, and I guess they found out that one of the banks shorted it huge.
Yeah.
So here we go. So there's traders that want to trade crypto, not just Bitcoin, for its volatility.
Yeah.
And so according to Gensler, such investor protection would be similar to what is currently in place in stock and future exchanges. In addition, he believes there needs to be an authority that brings anti-fraud and anti-manipulation authority. Gensler, who has taught blockchain and crypto masses at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, later added that he believes the SEC should be technology neutral when it comes to market innovation. That's really cool that he said that. So I love that news. I think we're going to see some amazing things coming forward on that.
Yeah.
And there's
I think he's been extremely positive and extremely fair. He seems very level-headed. I like his approach. I just feel very comfortable with him being there. I know that's kind of odd for me to say. I'm not a pro governmental type regulation person, but I feel like him and the other lady, I can't Pierce, or
I think it is. Yeah, she's very pro crypto. She was actually in the MIT. MIT just 2 months ago, I believe it was, did a big online Bitcoin, not just crypto, Bitcoin like conference online, and it was really cool. And I actually was in on it for the whole weekend. I listened to the whole thing, and she was in that call, and I think she was one of the speakers. So here's another, to move on, here's another example of banks. Bitcoin Depot deploys over 350 ATMs in the US. Global number now exceeds 19,000. So some of you might be like, oh, ATM, you know, because at least in the US, I don't think as many people use ATMs as we used to. And so you think, well, what's the big deal? Crypto ATM operator Bitcoin Depot has launched 355 new teller machines across the US. The announcement comes as the number of ATM locations now exceeds 19,000 across the world. In March, it announced the launch of 115. Its ATMs allow registered users with a wallet to acquire crypto for amounts less than $250. Providing a phone number will be enough for identity verification. So I don't know if you're new to crypto. The point of that is that that's like your KYC, know your customers. So normally when you have to open up an account, you have to do more than just provide your phone number. You have to show your driver's license and your address, and then they have to verify. Sometimes even like with a proof of mailing address besides your driver's license. And that is not because they're trying to grab all your information. It's they want to make sure that someone's not doing identity theft with you. So for someone who maybe, the rest of the article said it's actually excellent for people who maybe don't have access to even have a bank account. For some reason, maybe they've got bad credit, or maybe for whatever reason, they just don't have the availability. And I don't know, maybe they don't even have a driver's license yet. But let's say they're over 18 and they don't even have a driver's license.
Yeah.
And so, a lot, I'm not making any statements here, but some people who are in sanctuary cities across the US, they might not have driver's license yet because they can't acquire them. And so this is a way for them just with a cell phone to acquire crypto through the ATMs, if they're just doing little increments. So that's just good for just anybody trying to adapt to it. So maybe one of these days, I know I saw an ATM at one of the local grocery stores, and maybe we'll go in there and see what it's about and try it out.
And there's a little bit of a charge there, but here's the interesting thing.
But just
if you kind of look back in history, okay, as a kid, I don't know how you remember your childhood growing up, but I remember my first encounter with getting a check was going to a currency exchange. Okay. Yeah. And you stood in line. All currency exchanges smell the same. I don't know. There is a smell of money, but it was interesting because you took your check and you went, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, they took some of my check, because they charge a fee for it. So, these ATMs are going to be kind of in a way the new crypto, the currency exchanges. And because I think you're going to see physical banks in some fashion, not all, but you're going to see physical banks, even what we've gone through, that they're just not what they once were. So I
think people are becoming more independent. And so this is something that, just with your cell phone, and even now you don't even probably have to go to an ATM. I think they were saying the purpose of the ATM is that if you had cash on hand, so maybe a waitress who gets tips or something like that, she might be, and maybe doesn't have a bank account or just wants to take her, take her cash that she has, and she can feed it right into the ATM and then get some crypto for it. So,
it goes into her account or whatever.
Yeah. So here's one about our President Joe Biden. Joe Biden's $1 trillion stimulus bill pushes Miami mayor to buy Bitcoin. Now we know the Miami mayor is very pro Bitcoin, and the whole city of Miami. In fact, they're having a Bitcoin conference or convention, or what do you want to call it, coming up in a couple of weeks. And so Miami Mayor Francis Suarez has revealed that he bought Bitcoin, and I believe this he's talking about personally, and Ether right after the $1.9 trillion stimulus bill passed by the Senate, heading to President Biden's desk to be signed. He said Bitcoin is, and this is a current article, Bitcoin is definitely going to go up because I don't think people are going to want to stay in dollar-denominated currencies. Suarez is also working to make Miami a crypto city, he said. I bought Bitcoin and Ethereum. I didn't buy Doge, and I did buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I bought it literally the day. I will never forget the moment, he said. It was the day that the $1.9 trillion spending bill passed the Senate, and it was going to the president's desk. And I was like, wow. And it says, the mayor described it's an exciting time. And I do think that this is the future of our world. And if we want to be a tech city in Miami, we have to take advantage of these opportunities to differentiate ourselves and to get ahead of our competition. That's like, I mean, what an amazing individual.
He is
forward thinking.
Yeah, he's definitely, he's a serious individual.
What a leader. I mean, that's like a leader, and he's taking some risks, but he's smart and he sees the opportunity. And we're seeing across the country, what was it? Jackson, Tennessee is pro Bitcoin.
Hey, Illinois passed.
Yeah, Illinois, we just reported it. If you're watching on our stream on Friday, we did it. We found out that Illinois, which is typically, I won't even go there.
Not as pro-business as they once were. We'll leave it at.
And now they're passing. They might be the second state right behind Wyoming. If they pass this month, it passed in our House in Illinois. They believe it's going to pass in the Illinois Senate for a charter with the charter banks to connect to be one of the. If this passes this month, Illinois will be second behind Wyoming. Believe it or not, pro Bitcoin, pro crypto,
banking.
And banking. Oh, it's going to be huge.
Really has to do with banking.
So we have Wyoming, potentially Illinois in this coming month, Louisiana, Tennessee, Miami, Florida. I said Jackson, Tennessee. Yeah, Texas.
Yeah.
It's like, and so this mayor of this huge city is now going to hopefully lead to other mayors to come out and be vocal about it. I appreciate that he's very vocal about it.
Yeah. There will. Somebody had to take the first step.
Yeah.
He's done so. So I'm going to go ahead and share my last article here.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Mark Cuban explains why crypto is the future, especially as the world recovers from a generational pandemic. Okay, here we go. There's Mark. Hey, Mark, good morning. All right. As the cryptocurrency market continues to skyrocket, hitting a $1 trillion in February to double its market capitalization in just 3 months. Enthusiasts such as Mark Cuban are increasing calls for the world to embrace digital and decentralized money. Cryptocurrencies, the billionaire said, are the future, especially as the world recovers from a once-in-a-generation pandemic. This was on a podcast with actor Rob Lowe. Cuban had outlined 2 big reasons why he thinks the country should shift to digital currencies. Number 1, more access. The billionaire investor discussed the hurdles involving receiving and cashing stimulus checks faced by many Americans during the pandemic, whether it came via direct deposit or mail. He also touched on a number of days the banks needed to clear the checks. That I'm not going to get into further that. And then the second one was lower cost. This is what the whole blockchain thing was about. You're cutting out intermediaries. You're speeding things up. I'm not going to read the. It's a very short article, good article. That's the bottom line here, folks. Ask yourself this, if you go to the bank and try to move a little bit of money around. I mean, seriously, and Brenda can attest to this because Brenda, and I'm not throwing banks under the bus, but we live in 2021 now. Okay.
We closed down one of our accounts. Because we had a couple of savings accounts across a couple of banks, and I closed down one of our savings accounts and took the money out to move it to another bank. And like the manager of the bank comes up and he goes, "Can I ask you what you're closing your account down for?" And maybe he was just doing good customer service, but I almost felt like he was dreaming like a criminal, like I was doing something wrong. And I'm like, I don't need to tell you why.
Well, that's there's that. Okay, but let's put that aside. Number 1. Okay, you're not getting any money out of your bank.
Yeah.
Right. You're not getting any interest, right? So your money goes there. If you get a little overdraft, they punish you for it. They don't give you any sort of their hours have been cut since the pandemic.
Yeah, I opened up a new bank account for our business. Our crypto business, and you have to keep a huge amount of money in the bank. Otherwise, they're going to charge you a huge amount, like a penalty, every month, like a service fee. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And the thing is,
it's like they want to keep our money for free, and not pay me to leave it there. But then if I go one bit below, they charge me for it.
Well, there again, everything is moving digital. So wouldn't you rather just? I mean, I saw a chart this weekend about China and the United States and purchases by your mobile phone. it's like off the. I mean, it's off the. As I thought they did $800 billion in purchases on mobile, and we're like at just under $1 billion or something. It was crazy ridiculous. America's done a great job on a lot of things. This is one thing that we're a little behind the times in, because everybody even in Europe and Asia are living and using their phones every day and making purchases. And now we just need to kind of catch up a little bit in that space. I really think this is just going to be the next 10 years is going to be crazy. Crazy.
So here's an example. This is not necessarily Bitcoin news. This is crypto news. Managing the life cycle of a car with blockchain technology. I saw this. I thought this was cool. It's called Car Dossier. All relevant information along the life cycle of a car, transparent, trustworthy, verified car history reports, secure and reliable data exchange and ownership. And there is this cute little video. We'll play a little bit of it. It's basically a woman. She wants to buy a car, and how we do it now. And so what's the what's it called? Carfax we have right now, at least, or that's one we've used before. And so on Carfax, you can see like the history of a vehicle, and you think, okay, well, why do we need blockchain? We've got Carfax. It's pretty much. It's not just on the information of what, let's say you sell a car. It's not just our information that we give to Carfax. Carfax can go and look up across many different information centers to get, the history of the car. If it was in an accident with, they can probably check insurance records. But this here with the blockchain, it's all in one spot and it's all verified because nothing can be altered. And so they show, let's play the video.
Car Dossier is a blockchain-based digital dossier where all data from a vehicle's life cycle can be stored transparently and securely. The information can be accessed and used by different stakeholders. This includes car manufacturers, importers, used car dealers, insurance companies, registration authorities, garages, private buyers, sellers, renters, and scrap merchants.
Cool.
The Car Dossier is implemented using blockchain technologies to cover all data that is being used and created during the life cycle of a car. The university explores and designs how to set up this collaboration and how to jointly create value.
Okay, so it goes on to kind of a goofy video.
And then
it actually shows, this lady. Then it goes to this lady. She meets with a gentleman, and she's like, oh, and she takes the car for a test drive. And then they're actors in the thing here. And then she's like, oh, I don't know if you're telling me the truth in here. And then he goes, well, here, I've got it on the blockchain on Car Dossier. And then she looks at it, and it's all verifiable. She can actually go to the blockchain, and she's like, wow, he's absolutely right. He's done really good car maintenance. And so she decides to buy the car because she feels confident that everything on the blockchain representing the history of the car as far as accidents, all his maintenance, that he never missed oil changes, etc. And then the mileage wasn't fudged or anything like that. And so that's a great thing. And so this is just something in crypto. This might not be on Bitcoin, but just like we looked at Origin Trail. Origin Trail is another one for like food history and supply history, and factories and then certification for insurances. So there's some great things. Bitcoin leads the way. I've always said it's the granddaddy of crypto, and it leads the way, and it might be the foundation for a lot of things. I don't know if Car Dossier is going to be on the Ethereum, ecosystem or not, but I thought that was really cool. So
well, there'll probably be several of these. It's probably you're going to have you're not going to have just say one. You're not going to have one credit card out there. You're not going to have one debit card. It's going to be many, many things. Like as of today, nothing really is going to change. It's just going to, the base layer is going to change.
Yeah. And then kind of in light of the Car Dossier, I think this was Friday news, but I just saw this and I didn't get a chance to talk about it on Friday. New payment options for Bitcoin. AXA, I think this is over in Switzerland, is the first all-time insurer in Switzerland to allow its customers to pay their bills with Bitcoin. We also just saw on Friday, I don't have the article here, but there's an insurance company for auto insurance in California, and they're allowing you to pay your bill in Bitcoin and also settle any like accident premiums in Bitcoin, and they're testing it out in California. This represents an investment in the company's digital future in response to growing customer demand for more choice when it comes to payments. AXA is the first all lines insurer to offer this solution. The new payment option is available to private customers from the start of April. To start with, premiums for non-life products of AXA can be easily paid in Bitcoin, and all you need is the reference number, the amount, and your own Bitcoin wallet. This is AXA's response to growing demand from its customers for alternative payments. And it's just another way that now we're seeing it's not just insurance. It's car insurance, auto insurance, it was non-life insurance. So who knows what that's going to be, like homeowners insurance or something like that. And all the banks, we talked about Citigroup today, Goldman Sachs, NYDIG.
Yeah.
Friday, the state of Illinois is ready to pass this bill. Oh my gosh, that'll be amazing.
You see small governments, you see Miami, you see Jackson, Tennessee. You're going to start seeing, I guarantee you, between now and the end of the year, you're going to see a bunch of smaller municipalities take the plunge because somebody needed to lead the way.
It'll be interesting to see the 100 banks that they say are coming out in June in the U.S. in this charter banking system that they're putting together to offer Bitcoin to the average mom and pop. I wonder where those 100 banks, I can't wait for next month to come to see where they're at, because I wonder if it's just going to be in these pro-Bitcoin states that we've talked about, Texas, Wyoming, possibly Illinois, Tennessee, Louisiana, Florida. This is going to be cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just going to be in those states or if it's going to be other ones that we haven't heard about yet.
Well, I think you're going to eventually, you've got to kind of slow walk all of this, just because you've got to probably, as you go, you probably have to test as you go. So like Avante is is a digital bank. Okay. Avante is going to be probably one of the leaders in this. They also said Kraken was another one that was in this arena. So they probably have to move in a certain fashion, getting, obviously making sure they have enough capital in place. So it's going to be a slow walk a little bit but once it's there, it's there.
Yeah. That's
the beautiful thing is that we are moving there, and you can sit there, you can pump the brakes. I mean, go back. I mean, I'm a big believer in going back in your mind in history and remembering what it was like when the internet was around and everybody's like, oh, that's just not going to be real.
Yeah. But honestly, it's just common sense. And whoever is watching right now and on the replay, just realize that by the banks coming out and saying in June, 100 banks or a couple hundred banks are going to launch this to the average person. They're going to be doing that, I believe they said, to kind of ease in and work out the kinks. And then the bigger banks are going to come forward. So Citigroup and Goldman Sachs just came out and said they're opening up crypto trading desks. Well, that's probably in anticipation of what's going to be coming in the fall for just the regular customer to acquire Bitcoin. So they're slowly, kind of going into this.
Yeah.
And so, this is going to be adopting. The banks just aren't doing this because, is this going to possibly happen? Yeah,
and they probably, and here's the thing, it's not like, it's like trying to turn around a train or turn around a car. A train is big, long, and would take forever to literally turn around.
Yeah.
They've probably got Bitcoin on their balance sheets, okay?
Yeah.
Because now they have to structure everything around that. But
Right.
you don't do it without it because, these are banks, okay? That they're in the business of making money. So their job is to make sure that they're doing this properly. So they're obviously probably have it on their balance sheets and they're moving forward. It's just they have to kind of go through the whole process. Like Avante, the CEO from Avante last week was saying, there are a lot of trust in the crypto arena that didn't kind of go the proper channels. We took the long route, but now we're here. So I think that's what it's happening.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have to bring you guys through. Yeah, that's it. And I appreciate everybody who's in the stream right now. We've got a couple people in the stream. I appreciate you coming. Watch the replay. We have great videos from last week. We bring everything on crypto for the average Joe and Jane to realize that it is not too late to get into crypto. If you have any questions, check out our YouTube or Twitter feed, and we're glad to answer any questions, or if you have any comments that you would like us to offer for this week for information. And I think we're out. So you want to send us out, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Bitcoin's like fine wine. Okay, you keep it, you buy it, you keep it in a cool, dark place, and then in about 10 years you get to enjoy it. All right, hey everyone, Have a great day. Thank you for joining us at
Bitcoin say what?
Boom. See you
All right.
tomorrow. Have a
Thank
great day.
you, guys. Bye.
Peace.